Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aces ROG Showmatch. Today, we have the ROG Academy VALORANT Roster taking on the boys from Ascend. These two teams will be clashing head on in a high stakes environment on stream because we thought simple practice is not enough. Of course, all these teams who are aspiring to be at the top of the VALORANT leaderboards one day will have to practice, but just doing it behind closed doors is not enough. So we decided to host a show match out of it, make it a tournament, make it a broadcast so that everyone can see what these guys have been cooking up. And this actually feels like a proper tournament game. So the players get used to the pressure. And once they enter the actual tournaments, they will hopefully be ready for the heat. With me is
Yeah.
Universe. My name is Crips. We're going to be taking you through this game today. How are you feeling about this?
Well, I'm pretty excited to see what this Ascend youth team can bring. I have been a part of the Ascend Discord group, which is pretty, ongoing right now. For those of you who don't know, it's a very interesting, way to kind of upbring the competitiveness. There's quite a few pros also, I think, who play on that server, but this is Ascend themselves who have a separate youth team, which is basically an academy team of their own, and they're here to compete against ROG. Let's have a look at the map veto, shall we? एक बार नजर डालते हैं कौन से maps आज खेलने वाले हैं. Of course, it's going to be Haven Sunset this time around, and Lotus. Now, Sunset is something that I've not seen in recent history, at least in these show matches.
Hmm.
Haven's been a favorite pick of ROG, and they've been pretty strong on it anyway. Lotus, to finish it off, they've been pretty decent on that as well. But Sunset is a curveball that I actually really like that Ascend have thrown into this.
Hmm. Yeah, even I am quite happy about that one. It's been a while since I've casted a game of Sunset, and honestly, I like that. I love this map. I know you have a little bias against Haven. I don't know why you dislike that map, but I, for one, enjoy Sunset quite a lot. Haven's
No, I
quite okay
enjoy
for me.
Sunset as well.
Okay, cool. At least we're on the same page about that. I also enjoy Haven, but then again, okay, I understand. Once you've casted one too many Haven matches, it can be a bit.
It's not just casted, it's also played. Like, I think out of the last 15 of my ranked games, I think almost 7 or 8 of them have been Haven, which is kind of
Hmm.
frustrating. But
Okay, yeah,
anyway,
I see
it's
that.
also because somehow I get the worst teammates only on Haven, not on any other map. So
Huh,
I
okay.
guess
Maybe
it's a
maybe you should
connective
play a
tissue.
game or two with me, and then you'll be like, yeah, bad teammates can be anywhere. Anyway, enough of self-depreciating humor. Let's get into this game, ladies and gentlemen. The players are ready. We are jumping into Haven any second now. Uh, and I want to see what these boys have been cooking up. I'm assuming that the boys from ROG Academy will most likely stick with some meta composition.
Mhm.
Please ignore the current graphics on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, there you go. It's been corrected now. Yeah, now you can take a look at them. Almost identical lineups, except for the duelist. Jet is the primary character for La Flame. On the other hand, Ascend Youth will also take a similar composition, except for the duelist, which is Neon.
Yeah, I prefer the neon on this map anyway. If used right, of course, neon is a pretty solid agent. Um, Jet has been La Flame's strong point, and I'll have to give him that as well because he has been quite the pivoting, person for this team when it comes to being in high pressure situations when this clutch is required, or even if there's some sort of incision point needed for the team जहाँ पे उनको जरूरत पड़ती है कि टीम के लिए उनको एक फ्रैग निकालना ही पड़ेगा. He's there to deliver it, and with the op especially, he's been very very precise, and he has shown that he can turn the game on its head with that operator on his shoulders. So let's have a look at what's going to be brought
Revealing
in from
area.
Send Youth here. A pretty early aggression on towards Garage as there's already a quadruple kill that's come through. Two from La Flame. And we've already gotten the Seaside in action. Unfortunately, we're not switching there.
Last
Hopefully that'll
player
get fixed in a
standing.
second. But as we see and behold, Max is the last person standing. And I guess that was all according to plan so that Max can clutch a 1v3.
Spike planted.
Uh,
Hmm. Just setting up the hero for the journey. Put the
yeah.
stakes up. He's been stunned, and he's been taken out. That's going to be the end of him, brought to his end by a pretty penny. That being said, what are your thoughts on the penny that we are seeing in Masters lately? I am quite thoroughly impressed with him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he is. I think he deserves to be on the playing five first of all.
Hmm.
Of not the team that he's currently on, but I would say in any team he's got a very solid shout to be there. But right now I'm about the Paper X train, man.
Ah,
That's
of
why
course.
that's why I love Sunset as well, because yesterday they just won on Sunset,
Yeah.
right?
It was
With for
such a.
seconds spinny last second clutch against Sentinels. But yeah, let's see if anything similar is brewing up on this map. For the moment, how to pronounce that? Ancirus and Kyrus.
I think
I'm gonna
answer
go.
is.
And I'm gonna go with Ancirus. Yeah, Ancirus has point of contact. He has the Phantom bot in the second round, so he needs to be a little careful here. Should not put himself in any precarious position to lose his weapon.
Hmm.
But Lavish does take first contact. Drone following it up on back of that cage. La Flame hoping for a frag on. Nah, not gonna happen. Answer shuts him down instantly, and Caramel holds on to the flash for the side, throws it down, and that's gonna give one tap got at least a one frag. The distraction allows him. Caramel doubles up, so little bit of an economical hurt here being put on the wounds of Ascend. It's a 3v2, and quite honestly, if Caramel hits on the Penny because
Spike
he is
planted.
one shot away with that Sheriff, it is a doable round.
Max could have peeked on the back of
Player
that flash. That
standing.
should have been an easy frag onto Ansirus, but he missed his timing, leaving it all in the hands of Caramel once again. Now, quite unlikely he can clutch this out on its own, especially since he's being double peaked like that. But I think with 3 kills, that's a decent enough round. Plenty of economic damage dealt. Of course, they managed to recover the 2 most expensive weapons, the Guardian and the Phantom later on. But 3 kills in an eco round, I would say that's decent enough. Keep their economy humble and give yourself a good fighting chance in the bonus round.
Yeah, absolutely. ROG now in the first buy round. Kafi. Oh wait, they're actually a little stringent when it comes to armor. Only one player, Lavish, अकेले के पास ही एक full armor बची हुई है यहाँ पे.
Hmm.
Everybody else सब पे half armor या region shield. So if there was an outlaw, which I don't know if I spotted an outlaw on the attack or not. लेकिन अगर उन पे outlaw होगी, it's gonna be proving to be very useful. Seems like they don't need it. And Cyrus is just gonna slide through, get one, and one tap god has gone on a bit of an exploration mission on his own, and he finds value out of it. And just like that, mid becomes a spot of massacre for the side of Ascend. ROG Academy instantly on the prowl. उनका aggression जो हमने पिछले 2 शो मैचेस में देखा था वो बरकरार है यहाँ पे, and they're gonna continue on with the fact that they feel the confidence of moving up forward and taking these fights to the opponents.
Yeah. And I like the way how these guys just crunched upon mid. ROG Academy, at first they were just doubling up on Garage, and you can see why Lavish bought the full armor. He did not have enough money for both his trips, and quite frankly, he had no intention to wait for the trips. He wanted to go ahead and fight mid whenever his teammates on B were in danger. So he peeked ahead of his own trips and started fighting out of Garage. Him and One Tap God both did that. And that's a good way to respond because that doesn't give Ascend Youth the time to go back and reset themselves after losing their first few players in B entrance.
Yeah.
Take the fight to your opponents and
Exactly. Make them
don't let
feel
them
like,
zip.
you know, they can't control the pace even with the first 2 rounds going that fast.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, I mean, the first 2 rounds have been very fast. In the first round, the pistol round, we saw a nice C split. Then in the second round, there was a massacre towards mid. And once again, most of the focus was towards C. This time, they decided to burst into B, but there was a crossfire present. And even though one of the players in that crossfire died, the rotations came in quite quickly. Everyone who was towards the A side just abandoned their positions and came back towards A link, hoping to reinforce the B side in time. And of course, then Lavish and One Tap God also put up the pressure from Garage, making things a lot more easier for their teammates on B as well.
Well, we did have a small little tech pause, but we're back on track here. Armors across the board for everybody. ROG still a little stringent of that when it comes to having bought in. One Tap God could go for it, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I think he just seems to not have the same amount of value. He wants to save his money a little bit. Bit of a miser here.
Not broken.
Laflim. Yeah, he's gone detected as well. Has to expend his dash for that. And that's a good amount of utility that's burnt out from the side of ROG thanks to the one recon only. Which is a chargeable, and the fight comes in, but Max somehow single-handedly 3 players sprayed down like it's nothing. How the hell did this guy get away with that? Alone, by the way. There's nobody else.
Yeah, and Caramel used his flash, but not towards A long. Nice recon. Discovers one player, but Max's killing spree has been put to an end. It's up to Caramel to step up now. He's got Lavish by his side, hoping to trade just when the moment is right. But will they be spotted? Oh, puts up the camera, but
No,
Caramel misses the
Caramel!
shots. Nah, that's a
Oh my
very
God.
uncharacteristic miss from him. Wouldn't expect that from the captain. But hey, this clears up the path for Ascend Youth to go up towards A. And with the AWP, the hack comes off. Penny gets the kill onto Lavish as well, and now they know where one-tap God is. This round just went from a 4v2 to a 2v1, and Penny with a quadra kill of his own. Damn. I do feel bad for Max. That was such a stylish spray down, and yet his team lost the round.
Yeah, getting 3 down like that. It was a 4v2, by the way. ROG Academy just losing a 4v2 like that is not at all warranted for what started off the round as a very simple and easy spray down. And it worked out to the favor of the fact that Max actually has built up quite a bit of his ultimate orbs here as well. So, I get that, once you got a 3K, you get a little ambitious. But that's exactly what you need to stop getting yourself over with on your head, right? You get a 3K, and you've heard every single coach in the world say this. Yeah, you get 1, it's great. You get 2, even better. 3 is doing a bit too much, and anything beyond that, you need to stop.
Yeah, anything beyond that, you need to disengage and get back. Let your team enjoy the numbers advantage that you've worked so hard to create. Oh,
Yeah.
quite a lull in the action. All of a sudden, Ascend Youth playing it slowly. They know that ROG Academy don't have the best weaponry. A Bulldog on Max, Blade Storm on La Flame, just a couple of rifles with a half armor on the rest of the people. So they need to take their steps very carefully here, lest they step into a stack or something. Oh, I think La Flame just spotted a shoulder.
He's gonna probably jump re-peek that. No, he's just gonna get 1. He's got a sliding neon coming his way, and even the other support with him is not gonna be able to stop him. And Cyrus with a 3rd as he slides down again to the back of A. Fathered enough to just make sure that Caramel's got nothing to do with it. And the stun, of course, on the back of it, helping. Very good follow-up utility here. And Lavish
Spike planted.
left alone in the round again. He's got 5 members to take out here, and they're not slowing down at all. They spotted him, and they will finish him off. A beautifully executed round here from Ascend Youth, as they will find number 4. And this is not something that is a stranger to ROG, is it, Chris? Because even in the previous games that they've played, Haven usually starts off on a bit of a slow note, and then they pick it up very quickly in the second half.
Yeah, but that is if they have enough of a buffer in the second half to actually pick up something. It started off as a really nice map. At least this time they lost the first 2 rounds. That's understandable. They've almost always lost the first 2 rounds on Haven. But they managed to win the 3rd round, which I thought would have been the turning point for this team. And then Max got that triple kill. I was like, yeah, this is definitely ROG's playground. Then they lost the 2v4, and yeah, it's good that they're taking the stack time out now. Even if they don't have something necessarily to show or anything to fix in the tactical timeout, they definitely need this mental break to get over the 2v4 loss that they just had.
Yeah. I think it's not going to be as easy as they thought it would in the first bit. And given anything, if Ascend Youth have watched the previous show matches, they would know how to probably understand and counter, because ROG Academy have pretty much stuck to the same game plan for the last 3 times that they played Haven on these show matches, right? So, and it doesn't seem like they're wanting to change something that, does not need to be fixed because it's not broken. So they will continue with that same formula. This time around, they're going on the C mission, and it seems like all 4 of them, including the 5th who's around Garage. So it's a bit of a pincer movement here. And Ascend are actually ready for this. They're holding on for these angles, and they want to punish them as they come for these pushes. And that's actually really well done. They dwindled down the numbers to 3. Lavish manages to slip away with 1 HP and 1 kill. But how far are we going to get away with this? Because there's definitely going to be players coming to hunt in towards that C direction now. Mustang will have to be careful, though. He does have 2 players in front of him. Garage Door patience will pay off for him, it seems, as they're going to walk into his crosshair. The first, the second, and that will establish number 5 on the board for Ascend Youth.
Unless Max has a potential to clutch 1v4, which
Spike
doesn't
planted.
seem likely given the weaponry he has, only a sheriff. If he can at least get away with this with a gun in hand, that would be nice, but any rifles dropped are
Oh, he's
quite
been
far out of
hard.
reach.
Yeah, with a sound cue, nothing much he can do there. Just a little too strong for him to handle. And that's number 5. Well, the timeout definitely going to be in plan for now, because that's what usually I think ROG work around. They take the timeouts around an eco round and then they implement their plan across the buy round. But it seems like, according to what you can see on the map, Ascend are very keen on attacking that C side. Is that something that ROG will expect? No, it seems not. They've left that C side completely unattended and hoping to play on a retake, because they do have a bunch of ultimates to walk around that C side. But as a retaliation, they will try to take mid control. Flashes and stuns, they take mid control. Jet already pretty deep in towards the window side. La Flame needs to be careful. He's got an ultimate supporting him as well. And within a second's notice, ROG just flush Ascend down the drain. And all thanks to that one little pretty setup that they've done this before, by the way, as well, where the stun goes in towards the window, slightly crooked at that, so that they catch people outside of A main. Karamil throws in that, and Aftershock to cover it up as well. La Flame goes in, the flash towards lower end of mid, so that nobody tries to take out, push through and get on one tap guard. And he TPs faster, so it's like a triple motion attack with that Sova ultimate, which just you cannot do anything to counter it unless you actually go C.
Yeah, and it looks like that's exactly what Ascend Youth are about to do now. They're trying to explore down C long corridor already. Tripwires to break any potential, shotguns to break any potential trips, and Lapin just continues to go to work. Lots of shots being landed over here. Roy Mustang manages to get 2 tags, but not much else. And Lapin just continues his killing spree. What a way to shut down the momentum from Ascend Youth. They had quite a lot of momentum going into the previous round as well. And now, with 2 back-to-back rounds, ROG Academy have promptly shut that down, with this one being a flawless. This should help them build up their economy as well.
Yeah, 3 tags from that Sova of Hunter's Fury, but none of the wiser for them, because nothing actually came out of it at all. Not even a single kill, which is a little unfortunate for them. Because La Flame with this op, the minute he picks it up, it is an absolutely dangerous precedent that's set by him. And to be fair, I don't know why Ascend thought that going C after a round where they knew that C is completely left empty, that, okay, you know what, guys, they left C empty, they're probably going to leave. No, why would they leave it empty again? And you know that La Flame's pretty heavy on cash, so he is going to invest in that op. This time around, has to expend his dash, gets away from him, and we'll have to play on the back of just pure motion now. One tap guard secures that mid region with the smoke. Not going to be the case. The Ascend Youth are keen on going in towards A, but the information from Karamils is huge. He's completely covered off mid, and he's told us Sova, time to rotate, go to that A side. They spotted the first trip here, Ascend Youth. Can they hold on for the second one? Because that's deeper inside, and Lavish has been pretty good in holding on to this A side when it comes to these tripwires.
The tripwire is instantly broken. No freebies for him. Max also trying to get a couple of freebies of his own. Lavish does manage to spray one down through the window, but that's about it. Max, stunned, has to get away before the smoke fades and his life is taken away from him. This should give him enough time to regroup with his teammates. They know that there could be a crossfire between Graffiti and Hell, so that paranoia will cover that. And the fault line as well to make things easier. But Caramel, he gets a double. Nice 2-piece from him to get the retake going. But Rexview, he's kind of trapped in Hell now. Has to play in coordination with the last guy in A-long. Roy Mustang can't peek out in time, so that trade is not possible. Spike tapped. But both the players are outside the smoke. They're trying to hunt him down. There's not enough time. Can Caramel get this defuse? It's going to be very close.
Yeah, I think he just about, 70 milliseconds to spare him and his team for round number 4 as they move on further. And ROG Academy, on the back of that timeout, clearly, like I mentioned, that usually the timeout around ecos are used to apply on to the buy round, and it works out in precision. It seems like, once again, their little reclearances on the back of timings and sound cues are working perfectly. Karamel pushing up mid after seeing that initial reaction from Ascend, to make sure that, yeah, we've got all the information we run in through. I was a little worried that the paranoia came a little early from one tap god. Nobody followed it up. But then, of course, Caramel had to come in and get a double of his own, which settled things on. Once again, he carries the team to solid round, and La Flame, multiple targets, one hit.
Down, C.
Secures himself.
I know exactly.
Oh my god, there's way too much heat. Nice holding thunder committed by Caramel. This should put a halt to the momentum of Ascend Youth, and Max ventures forward. Knows there's one in the smoke,
One
connects
enemy
those shots. Even one tap god climbs on top of logs to get a double of his own, leaving Roy Mustang once again in a 1v3. Nice shot, but Caramel will finish them off. And ROG Academy, by virtue of winning 3 rounds in a row, have tied up the score.
Oh, well, ROG Academy have Caramel to thank for that particular round. Once again, his ultimate was what saved them, because I feel like they would have been able to overpower La Flame on the back side, and Cyrus was ready to run in as quickly as possible. Lucky for him, the big bad earthquake coming his way is going to come completely falling down on their heads, and it's 5-5 now. And here he goes with the overdrive, and a little too far out in the middle. Caramel felt the confidence of the last 2 rounds maybe overflowing into this one. Spills to his death, nothing more. La Flame does get the trade on towards mid, but that's Penny. And that's still a kill that's not going to prove to be too valuable for them, because numbers are not in their favor just yet.
Just yet being the keyword. ROG, in this 3v4, have to somehow get at least one pick to begin with. Max and Lavish going in quite slowly. The recon dart keeping them at bay for the time being. La Flame looks to get an advantage, looks to push through the smoke, and he gets the opening frag. Nice retaliation by Rexview. Can he somehow make this one work? The cyber cage keeping him safe for the time being, but they don't know he's here. And he missed the shot. The opportunity's gone. AOH out of desperation tries to use the rolling thunder. But
No,
that is
he wasted that as well. Oh my god, that is a blunder of a round. That is one for the books that you will remember, just to make sure that you know what not to do.
So that's 1-all for the teams who have lost rounds that they had no business losing. ROG lose a 2v4, Ascend Youth lose a 3v4. Honestly, I don't know what's worse, but yep. I'm glad that both these teams are making the mistakes in a show match, so that hopefully they won't be repeating them in proper tournaments as well.
Yeah. Those sheriff shots miss just reminded me of Jogamo from yesterday, who had quite a whiff himself.
But then he at least made up for it later on.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's see if Rexy can do that. This time again, ROG pushing up mid. And for some reason, Ascend Youth are completely oblivious to this. They don't really give that much of attention to this mid-side pushes, or even having control of that for that reason. Caramel's pushed up 3 times now out of the 11 rounds that's been played. And he's gotten away successfully with it every single time. And look at this again. He's recommitting that because Lavish is taking up the attention with the ultimate. How... There's no way Ascend don't... If Ascend don't go in to try and take control of mid window this time, swing out, try to stop some form of retaliation towards that mid region, then they are just out of their depth in this game, because Karame is just abusing them for just, well, technically pennies.
To be fair, the first 2 rounds that ROG Academy did win while they were down at like 5-2, those 2 rounds came on the back of mid-aggression, which is probably why the boys of Ascend Youth started to just hold mid and anticipate an ROG push. But then, every time ROG tried to take mid control, they've done it with brute force. They use Caramel's utility, they send La Flame, they send one tap god ahead, they attack it with numbers. It's never been just Caramel sneaking up by himself.
He did it 2 rounds ago though. He did it.
Yeah.
He situated himself down lower towards the right outside of window on the bottom corner cubby. Right? That's the one time he did it.
That's the one time.
And then there was a setup, like you just mentioned, where the Hunter's Fury came in from A-main as well.
So it's been aggression, but in varied levels, you know. Sometimes you be sneaky peeky, sometimes you go in with brute force. This time, ROG brute forcing their way into the A site. Not much resistance over here, as Ascend Youth have decided to just play for the retake instead.
Yeah, they're going to have to break that tripwire. There's no other way around it. They're going to wait for their opponents to kind of maybe come on the back lines. No, not going to be possible. So it's a long fight here. Mustang trying to give a little bit of damage. A shock dart Might actually take him out. No, it's going to be the breach who takes him out. Max, corner, goes unchecked, and Cyrus doesn't turn back because he's got a target in front of him. One tap god will get taken out. The Penny doing work worth millions right here as he will secure a 3. I don't know how Penny manages to get away with 3 there. Max did a bunch of heavy lifting as well, just sitting in that corner and making use of the fact that he was not checked. Got a double himself, but that was the only 2 kills that I think ROG managed to actually get.
Yeah, every time Max manages to get a nice little highlight reel by himself, his team kind of drops the ball for him. I am still remembering that triple kill round on Long where he sprayed them down and they lost a 2v4. Even now, he goes unchecked. That's a gift given to him. 2 free frags wrapped up with a pretty little ribbon on top, gifted to him, and still somehow ROG Academy dropped the ball.
Well, let's find out if they can bring it back up once again. They did win 6 in a row in the previous half. They were 5-1 down and they brought it up to 7-5. This time around, they're going to lose a pistol once again. Follow-up looking likely as well, but they've got a decent read here to go towards that B side. A little bit, okay. Max does get taken out in the process, but he's given enough damage to the guy holding the Vandal. That's going to transfer over to another player for sure. Yeah, I saw just Cyrus probably picking it up as ROG now just waiting for stragglers, waiting for picks to get anything they can, and they're going to search for it during garage. And Penny might be in a bit of a dangerous position to be caught out here. Maybe he gets 1. Never mind, he gets a 2. And Karamil will go down as well. Wow, this guy is right now on point. Penny has absolutely woken up.
Yeah. It's contributing more than just pennies to the dollar. He's putting his money where his mouth is. Or rather, in this case, where his crosshair is. 1 point away from the neural theft already. That's a massive ultimate to have this early on in the game.
Yeah, especially when in a bonus round. And you've got decent amount of weaponry as well. Look at that. You've got a Vandal, you've got 2 Guardians, a Bulldog as well. It's more than enough to... It's a very decent amount of weaponry to counter the bunch of rifles on the other end. And while they're getting anticipatory for an A attack here, ROG Academy, after giving initial contact, have slowed down instantly. There's a stun waiting on contact on the camera, which not gonna work out. The drone comes through. It's been broken. The stun is a little late, but Mustang does manage to get the trade. One tap god comes in from Long, though. Nobody watching Long for that matter. As ROG Academy take in this site, and well, Breach manages to get at least 1 back. It's a 3v3. The neural theft a little too far away for him to actually put it down, but it's just a little bit of patience now. The smoke fades away. They've got lines of sight. They've got flashes as well, and aftershock on the back of it. A recon goes through just for holding on to that A side a little longer. Counter stun from Karam and from under heaven. They know one place. They're gonna put down the aftershock. It countered it again. One tap god delivers probably the first blow to end this round. Their half a flash comes through. They need to run in right now, but they're stuck in the smoke. The flash goes unused. A weird smoke on the back of side that allows them to crawl into, but there's no use because Karamil is holding a very close and personal angle, and that's more than enough to secure ROG number 8. A little bit of a miscom there about who should peek when on the back of which piece of util. And Ascend Youth, well, they are in their youth, but they need a little bit of experience to get them through rounds like these.
Yeah, and it's not just the lack of experience over here. There's also Caramel saving some of his utility for the post-man situation. I'm not sure if I saw him use the fault line or if it just regenerated back in time. But Caramel had plenty of counter util. So every time they threw in either a paranoia or a flash to go inside, Caramel used his fault line and aftershock to keep them away and just keep them at bay. And then even one tap god used his smokes to buy as much time as possible, you know, just smothering all the utility that Ascent Youth have to throw into this retake. So they can't really capitalize on it. And when they finally do...
ROG, just a little bit of informational discoveries here. They spot out 1 and give a decent amount of damage on the breach as well. Lavish is just hoping to pull in as many straws as possible towards his B side, while he allows his team to walk in towards A, which is exactly what's happening. Well, they've got the Sova there to face off against. Mustang does have a recon, so an early recon here could actually make it a little easier, but he throws it in. No, he's going to hold it on. Recon does go through, but there's nothing for them to spam upon here. So that Recon goes actually for a bit of a useless push there. And on the back of which they don't really have any other utility except for the breach flash. And it's pretty easily dodged by everybody on site. And they just crumble like an apple pie.
Oh, that was a rather tasty metaphor.
To be fair, I don't really like apple pie, and that's because of the hatred I have for Haven, but yeah.
I don't see how Apple Pie and Haven are related to each other.
No. I said it because...
oh, because you hate Haven, so
I
you...
like apple pie,
Okay.
but you know, they say, you know, that apple pie crumble, or you know that, so...
Okay.
Have you ever had apple pie crumble?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
You see, I didn't expect to, hear this now. There are other things that crumble even better, like, for example, the base of a nice cheesecake.
Yeah, a
But
biscuit.
before we get carried away with sweets, let's actually discuss what the stack timeout might accomplish for the side of Ascend Youth. So far, every time they've tried to go towards the A side, ROG Academy, they have just smothered their retakes because all the util that AOH has to bring to the table, it's kind of being not utilized properly. That is also because Caramel is using his utility very well for counters. So ROG are able to hold on to the retake situations quite well. But the first two rounds that they lost in quite a terrible fashion, where even after getting an advantage, they were unable to hold on to this A site. And it seems to be like, for now, this A site is ROG Academy's bread and butter. Yeah, of course, they don't always start on the A site. Like in the previous round, they started by defaulting towards mid and towards garage, but they often end up gravitating towards this side of the map.
Scanning ahead.
Only recon, and both fault lines exchanged actually on both sides, as now Ascend want to try and actually get information manually, and they want to go in towards the A side, but the C side is exactly where ROG are going, and this is actually a very good read again. ROG managing to every time best their opponent in terms of where the map control seems to be easier for them to pick off, and they found a pick towards garage, and with that they've gotten the C side as well. This is of course an eco for the side of the Ascend Youth, but the most they can do out of it is probably just get one or two picks at best. Penny, he's heard a couple towards garage. He's gonna jump down, but he's being watched. No, he still manages to get two.
Scanning ahead.
And as the lone warrior for his team, who's actually been standing up in these last couple of rounds, he needs a little bit of support, I would say, because Penny's been delivering at least 2 out of 5 rounds, while his team have just not been able to stand up to these aim duels that have been thrown onto them.
Yeah. This time Penny also manages to catch the timing on them, because he was the only person who was still available towards the C side. Everybody else was coming in for a flank. I do feel bad for Rexview. He was expecting the peak from Max towards garage, and he had his full attention towards the double door, but he just got shot from the C side, and he was like, Penny, I thought you were watching that area. How did I get killed from the actual site? So that was a bit of a miscom for Rex, but then Penny manages to catch the timing, catch one player off guard, but unfortunately that's all that you can get if you try to go for timing plays. Oh my god, I thought One Tap God would actually commit to that, but they cancelled his ultimate. AO Edge goes in, discovers it, puts it back, and look at Penny. So much control garnered towards the C long area. At the same time, Ansiris has sightlines over towards A long, so none of these areas are losing control, but the moment I say that, Penny loses control of C, and now this side is basically crumbling. Not in the apple pie cutesy way.
Yeah. Okay, Rexu does get a trade back, and it works out in their favor because they have managed to take out a bit of spearhead here. Rexu doubles it up. Lavish is gone. Now it's a rolling thunder that's going to stop them, and actually it's a very, very well placed and strong rolling thunder, which might allow them to get at least one. They don't expect Caramel for some reason, even though the ultimate came in from garage. And Cyrus and AOH get one back. One Tap got alone in a 1v1, and it's going to be AOH who just spams him down through the green boxes. And it is going to be Ascend who finally put up a round on the board after a bit of a struggle here. And to be fair, I like that you had Penny go up a little aggressive on C. That's usually what Lavish does on his defensive rounds. He didn't do it this time around as much pushing up C, but we saw him in the previous show matches where he was a very keen guy to find information outside of C long. The only difference is that Penny was ready to sit there and take in a fight, whereas Lavish usually just sits on the corner and listens to sound cues and tells his teammates, okay, they're coming here, they're going there. So
Yeah.
Penny is feeling a little confident. Of course, he should be because he's been getting most of the frags for his team. But I feel like he could have had a better approach there, even though the outcome in the end came out for his team's favor.
Yeah. And it's all about taking control whenever you have the opportunity to do so. Whether you use it to just gather information and listen to footsteps, or if you want to actually pick up a fight. The fact that there was no presence on C and Penny decided to actually push down that area gave his team enough buffer, enough time to come back to the seaside on time. By the time the spike was down, they were able to fight back as well. So it acts like an early warning system. And most teams who are somewhat new or are struggling in the lower ranks, they often are very scared of going out like this, aggressing ahead and taking map control even when they have the chance to do so. So I'm liking that Penny is actually exploring whenever he has the chance. Oh, look at Rex View. Lovely
Oh, wow.
angle.
Are
And he
you
manages to escape as
joking?
well.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, he gets away. He doesn't follow up, but he does now. He eats one bullet to the head, but delivers one himself as well to his opponent. And that's 2 rounds in a row for the side of Ascend Youth. That is gonna pump up some blood for sure. They're gonna feel the confidence now, and I'm pretty sure I can sense an ROG timeout coming in probably if this round does not go their way. La Flame will be forced to play on the back of his blades, I believe, which is probably going to be delivered to him outside of C long. Yeah, that's exactly what they're going for. And they're going to run all the way into C, where they've only got a neon waiting for them, by the way. So it is no real defense, except for now that the Breach and Omen are rotating through. No smoke put down just yet. The flash is a little too early from the defense. A Hunter's Fury to just make sure that the extremities are covered up. No real retaliation here from the defense. They're going to have to play on the retake because the Neon did get pushed back on the back of that Hunter's Fury.
Rolling Thunder expended. La Flame somehow dodges it, so he's gonna retake control of Garage so that at least one area taken away. Nice flash that should keep One Tap God alive for the time being, but inside the smoke, he's trying to make it work. La Flame goes in from behind. The blades get 2, and One Tap God inside the smoke. He's keeping them away from the spike. He knows exactly where AOH is. He's gonna pop into the smoke anytime now, and he's not looking the right way. ROG Academy wrestle control back into their hands and take the lead once again.
Oh, that was a very, very scary round. I'm not sure what exactly the game plan was for the side of the defense, because they did leave Ansidus on that side, hoping that he would be able to hold it off with his, relay bolt, and maybe the stun and the paranoia would come through. But the problem was, did you see the paranoia was way too early? There was no smoke that was put down earlier as well, because by the time the smoke went down, ROG Academy were already at the cavity of entering the seaside. So the paranoia came first, the smoke came later, which turned out to be a bit of a miscom once again. And they lose on the back of just mistimed utility. And now ROG want to exert that same amount of force that they did on C on the B side. But this time, it seems like that force is misplaced confidence. But Max, he holds on for 3 once again. Unfortunately, those are the only 3 that ROG find, as the rest of them could not win out their duels. A quick round that subsides by, and we move on to number 22.
What a attack from ROG. These guys, they wanted to go in for the brute force and they wanted to fight. They placed the smoke towards C Link, and they used only the fault line towards A Link because they wanted to probably pick up fights over there. They were hoping that Caramel's utility would help overwhelm the numbers and they would be able to win the duels. But take a look at the speed of Ascend Youth. These guys flood into the B side before ROG can even establish a foothold over there.
Ooh. Well, La Flame tried a bit of a Trojan horse method here. Did not work out for him. Him being the Trojan horse himself, because nobody actually followed up behind him. That's why it didn't work out. And then Cyrus gets away with one. Max, feeling the confidence of the previous round, will be put down to bed. Penny, ready for a second. Spots the shoulder and will spot the head as well. Takes him straight out. And he's hoping for a third here. And Karamil might as well end up giving it to him. And Cyrus takes out the penultimate kill. Shoulder, I think. Oh no, he's not spotted him just yet. Now he has. And Penny will have to concede defeat for the ones. Phantom picked up. There's a fault line available just to reload. Forces them to get a little closer. Stun is good, not for the one in for front though. AOH takes him out. That's gonna be 11-11. And
Yeah.
Ascend not letting go of this Haven map anytime soon. They want to fight until the end.
And Caramel must have been fuming right now. He could see his teammates peek one by one towards Garage, and they gave up their lives to Penny, even though they know exactly where Penny was. And that's a mistake ROG Academy cannot afford to make again. Even AKG calls in the timeout, throws in the towel. So far, whatever brute force attacks that ROG Academy have done have only worked towards the A side. Anywhere else, they've not really found success. And even if they manage to get the plant or get into a site, they haven't really been able to maintain numbers advantage to gain success in the retake. So maybe that's one pattern that ROG Academy need to acknowledge. If you want to hit the C side or the B side, you can't exactly do it with brute force. You need to bait out some utility from the side of Ascend Youth and then maybe try and go in for those dives.
Quite a bit of contemplation here from the side of ROG, having lost the previous 2 rounds. They're going to have to come up with a little bit of force. And they do have ultimates to back it up as well. They've done that pinch and, the duck maneuver before towards their A side where the Rolling Thunder goes in and they've got a random one-tap God teleport coming in somewhere on side, which pinches them as La Flame heads in to the side as well. So it is something that they have done before. For the moment, it seems that they're just going to hold on, maybe see what Ascend are trying to do, and it's Ascend trying to take C main control.
Oh my God.
La Flame, he's definitely been caught out, definitely been taken out here, and that is once again the spearhead gone out of the picture. One tap God does put in that teleport that I talked about, and he managed to find one. Does he expect a second? He doesn't, he takes him out. They don't even need the Rolling Thunder. One tap God single-handedly without any paranoia, just right clicks whatever he can, goes through. Caramel makes a bit of a mistake. I don't know why he decides to go through that smoke, but the Tripwire backs it up, thankfully, for a trade. And now ROG in the controlling seat will have to let go of the side as they play on the back of a flank coming in. Flash is good, but One Tap God has a paranoia that could be better. He's seen one under heaven. No tap of the spike just yet. First one comes in. No, it's a fake. Here comes the Hunter's Fury. It detects both. It does not connect on either one of them. But the Recon's doing most of the work here. Max, ready for the push. Will take care of him as the final player on the spike here. And his wall is not going to support him for too long. That is ROG Academy. You have to be grateful to what One Tap God just pulled off.
Yeah.
The fact that he expected a second player on Heaven was really, really good.
Yeah, he knew that there's only one place where Rexview would use the teleport. That's either on the A side itself or towards the Heaven area. So that's amazing props to One Tap God. But I do feel bad for La Flame. He was neon stunned, breach fault lined, paranoid. I'm pretty sure there was one more piece of utility which I'm missing right now. So that's 3 pieces of utility, 3 agents spotted towards the C side. ROG Academy instantly knew that A would be weak if that's the case. So One Tap God pops the ult and they just scale up on the back of it. And it all happened because La Flame was able to pass the utility. Lovely Rolling Thunder. This is the chance for them to go in. Rexview hasn't really been stunned though. La Flame gets team stunned. He tries to TP away, but that won't really work. Roy Mustang with the Hunter's Fury. Can he connect? Yes, he does. Kills Max, gets another tag onto La Flame as well. And that's the spike dropped straight into the site. The flank has already arrived. Are they aware about this one? There's no tripwires to inform them about this impending retake. Oh my god, that's a team flash, but it still somehow works.
Yeah, and Cyrus does get one, but it is still a 3v3 here. La Flame on 1 HP! He doesn't need anybody else because Lavish will take in all the tension for him. And on the back of the tension, La Flame swings out because all 3 of the flankers were looking in the exact same direction. And that throws ROG Academy into the winning spot as they just go with the flow. The Rolling Thunder was great. Rexu, unfortunately, not being able to connect the one shot that he really had to there. I feel like if he had managed to get one kill, he would have gotten away. The teleport was on time. He just was not able to connect because again, La Flame's understanding, he threw down a smoke, instantly cuts off the line of sight. The bullets go in 2 different directions. And the rest was just them finding the way into the side pretty easily. Overall, I would say that Ascend Youth, I have to give them props. I think this is the closest any of the last 3 teams have come to ROG Academy in terms of facing them off on Haven.
Yeah, and it's not like ROG Academy are amazing or Haven or anything, but surprisingly, yes, the last few teams who did face ROG Academy on this map were not able to push them to the limit. They did not even force them to use both the tactical timeouts, and yeah, they really had ROG Academy held at gunpoint over here. Make them work for every single round, work for every single inch of the site. Props to Penny. This man was an absolute menace every single time he's present anywhere towards the side. Even if he's not getting kills, his presence alone is enough to thwart the momentum of ROG Academy. Although
Yeah.
we did see some breach on breach violence in the last round. There was a team stun from Caramel as Laflame was trying to get inside. Got a little too ahead of the Rolling Thunder. We saw a team flash from AOH as well. He blinded Ansiris, but somehow Ansiris still managed to get the kill onto one tap dodge. So it's not perfect from both these teams. Haven still needs a lot of work on either side, but I'm glad that whatever mistakes they're making it here in a rather safe environment.
Indeed. ROG Academy, thankfully, with a little bit of discipline, keep their head on their shoulders and find themselves to win the first map, their own map pick. But now we're heading into Sunset, which is uncharted territory for this team here. We've not seen them play. I'm not sure when. I think they have played Sunset before in one of the show matches. I just don't remember which. I think it was against Global Esports Academy in the second show match that they played. I'm not
Yeah, but it did
quite
not end
sure.
well for them.
Yeah, like I said, it's a very gray area map for them, and they have to now kind of adapt. I'm not sure if the composition is going to be any different. I believe that they will probably hold on to the neon over there. I would really, really, really be surprised if they let La Flame go on a jet again, because honestly, till date, I have not seen a single jet player on Sunset, and I don't think jet is viable on Sunset either.
I hope they put Lavish on Yoru again this time. I
That's a
think Yoru,
possibility, absolutely.
Yoru could be a nice possibility on Sunset. I don't think Laflame plays Yoru, at least not yet. He was instructed to start trying Yoru, but I don't know if he'll take the risk of pulling it off in a show match. He might just stick to the Neon if things go right for them. But I do believe that there's quite a few ways that ROG Academy can go on Sunset. They can either pick up the Viper Ohm in the double controller route, or they could just go for the double initiator route with a Sova and a breach, or like a fade and a breach. There's a lot of options over here. Although there's one thing which I know will happen for certain is that somebody or the other will pick up the Cypher. I think it will either be Lavish or maybe Max can pick it up as well. We're not really sure on what the lineup of this team will look like because it's been a while since they played Ascent. On Haven, at least, I can now see that the proactivity which ROG Academy showed in the previous show match, that proactivity is still there. So that's amazing. That's a good sign, healthy sign of a team progressing ahead, and their ability to deal with mid-round chaotic situations has also improved to some extent.
Yeah, I think that even in Sunset, it's not gonna wide web, because I feel like Sunset is also a very proactivity friendly map, especially on that mid region, right? Just because you've got that little a one and a half pillar in the center of mid. I think it's something that Caramel would love to exploit and just kind of move in further and keep taking being a menace down towards mid, which is something that I think will help them as well in terms of information and also pivoting where they want to move. Because ROG are a very, I would say, information reliant team where they take in manual information. They don't they don't use as much utility. The utility is rather more of a distraction to get a player in towards deep so that they can know, all right, now we hear the sound cues, can we start moving in further, flank them more, because they're not afraid to flank in the first 10 seconds of the round itself if it gives them an advantage, and they do it multiple times on end. And on Sunset especially, it is a pretty doable scenario. On B, I would say, is the only place where you can't really try it because it's one chokehold. But on A, you've got two different angles to enter, especially from the main side, which will definitely be helpful. And even towards mid, where you've got so many multiple angles to come in from high mid, even from the door from kitchen. So it's so much to do for the defensive side, because ROG are starting on defense. So we'll have a look at what exactly is going to happen on Sunset, and what the comp of Ascend Youth is going to be, because I feel like they are neon abusers and they love it, and I love watching people who can utilize the neon well. Clearly, and Cyrus did it. I think he did a decent job in the first game.
Yeah, he did.
He was pretty good in the first half. Second half was a little slower for him, but I think he can pick it up in the next map.
Yeah, there was a bit of a miscommunication between him and AOH on a couple of instances where the flash wasn't utilized properly. Like I think it wasn't just him and Anceris, it was everyone in the retake situations where they were not able to capitalize on the flashes of AOH properly. They were not able to use Rex View's paranoia properly. So a couple of missed opportunities over there, but nothing that can't be fixed. And I'm sure that once they fix this issue, it will help them not just in Sunset but also in the next map of Lotus. So that's one easily fixable thing that these guys can start utilizing right away and
Yep,
gain themselves quite a lot of advantage so they can snowball in ahead. That being
absolutely.
said, though, uh, it's much easier to insert your neon into all these precarious spots, which will make the defense a little more dicey, I would say. So I do have high hopes from Insidious in the next map.
Did I also forget to mention that Sunset is a very judge-friendly map, especially if you have a neon?
Oh,
It
yes.
does turn out to be a bit of a, quite the showcase of the shotgun premise here.
Hmm.
So we'll see if he's gonna pick it up. I feel like he is a neon who is a lot more movement oriented.
Hmm.
So the judge very well fits into that kind of play style. So I think, especially with them being on the attack, it is something that they could really use, as long as they realize where the Cypher is situated and where he's not. If I'm going to be playing Cypher on the opposite end, I would honestly just start putting up trips on the most random parts of the map. Doesn't have to be on the only side that you play on. I think the tripwise would be more helpful and useful towards the side where your teammates are playing, because if you see a neon running towards you, the only thing that can actually stop him is going to be that tripwire, unless of course somebody breaks it down. But if you see the Cypher on one end of the map, you're not going to expect the tripwire on the other. So the ROG can be a little smart about this. They can be a little wary about this. But again, depends on the composition. I have seen a lot of difference being shown in whether it's a Cypher or not. So we'll have a look at the agent select in just about a bit, ladies and gentlemen, as we will come back after this very short break as the players are just getting ready, and we will continue with Sunset in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What we thought was going to be a big break, fortunately, turned out to be quite the tiny one. Our players are back. They did have a small bit of a disconnect, but we are ready to start the game on the sunset. Let's see what the compositions are going to be on the back of this. Once again, just to remind you of the map veto 1311 on Haven. Sunset is now going to be following that up, and we will end on Lotus. And once again, it's going to be ROG on the defense, and this is Ascend Youth's pick. So I'm excited. We're all excited to see what the composition of ROG Academy is going to be. We will have a look at the agent select as I'm thinking that maybe if they are going the way of a double initiator, I would say that one agent that's fallen out of the double initiator meta so far has been Gecko, hasn't it? Because Gecko was a favorite on this map for a bit. For a bit. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that means that guess what, guys? That means that Chamber's going to get nerfed. Well, we are going to find out whether or not any Gecko lovers are going to be on this map of these 10 players who are going to be playing on. Uh, Probably not, but like you said, Fade, I would say that it's not just about the lineups that they bring out, it's also the fact that I think Fade has the fastest, I would say, scanning utility. Not scanning, forgive me, as in you would say droning or slash prowler utility, right? The prowler goes in very quickly compared to the Sova drone or even to, I would say, the Teho drone. It's on the ground, but the Fade prowler, there's two of it. You can, especially, let's say you're on the attack and you want to get information on both sides of A, right? Theo drone, just a one. Sky dog, just a one. Sova drone, just a one. But with Fade, you can double check if you want a certain angle, or you can send a prowler towards the left, you can send a prowler towards the right. And the same thing on B as well, because sometimes you don't expect somebody who's crawled up a little quickly on towards B and hiding behind box. You can get that checked as well, and you can send a prowler in towards the side. If you don't want that, you can send a prowler towards the right side of the corner of B side and one towards the back of side as well. So I think Fade is a strong choice on this map just because of the fact that you have an agent that can follow up those prowlers really well if you have a neon in my opinion. But again, that is dependent on the team itself, and we'll have a look if these teams have a little bit of a liking towards that dark haired agent. And no, both teams, yeah.
So
Yeah, they
Ascend
have
Youth.
picked.
Sorry, was kind of muted over there. My bad on that one. I like the lineup of Ascend Youth. The Omen, Cypher, Sova, Breach, Neon. Quite a viable composition on a map like Ascent, but I'm still surprised as to why ROG Academy have picked up ISO. More specifically, why has Caramel, of all people, picked up the ISO? I kind of would have expected him to be on the Breach once again. I love the Breach on this map, or maybe even the Fade. I wouldn't even be surprised if he picked up the Sentinel and let Lavish go for the Gyoru. But ISO on Sunset, do you like this one?
I like it because it allows you the same kind of see. The fact that you mentioned that there's narrow corridors here and the breach can exploit them really well is the same kind of argument that I would use for the ISO when it comes to the undercut, right? That he can just kind of delay or deny anybody's abilities with that undercut because it suppresses you with your abilities, right? So I would say that it's a great counter in that sense because you can hit multiple targets at a time. But again, ISO is also a very aim-based agent, and I think Caramel has been on absolutely on top of his game. So I think it really helps him out because he can self-sustain himself and also set up his teammates if he wants to.
Yeah, but right now, these guys are on a mission to make sure Penny can't be self-sustained. He's being hunted down, but in the process of hunting down Penny, they kind of lost control over the site. So now it will be a 4v3 retake situation if they manage to get the spike plant down. Rexview, along with AOH, are pushing
Last
ahead,
player
hoping to pick up the
standing.
fight towards CT, hopefully get some more map control. But unfortunately, they won't be given anything at all. Roy Mustang, one consolation kill, and that's ROG Academy holding on to market with an iron grip. I do believe that it was Insidious who dove in first under the door that was closing in on his face. He ducked under it, slid past, and let the door close in behind him, basically isolating him away from any trade potential. The paranoia that was sent in by Rexu was nice. That's exactly what Insidious went to capitalize on. He's like, I've repeated
Yeah.
one too many mistakes on Haven, did not capitalize on the paranoia enough, so he used it this time. Uh, Went in to kill the person who was blinded. I believe that was Caramel, but by that
It was,
time,
yeah.
yeah,
Max was
everybody else,
ready.
yeah, Max was also ready. He had recovered from the paranoia.
Yeah, again, now this is the undercut I was talking about, right? Look, it denies everybody of their utility, and they're forced to just fight on the back of. And plus, it also makes them vulnerable, right? So that's another thing. So since that ISO's got that little buff compared to the other nerfs that he's received, it is a very viable agent on this map because again, look at that one. Like it is a big corridor on A main, but it is something that the undercut can almost completely cover up, right? So works out. Even then, ROG did lose out on this round for most part, but Lavish claws it back and he will take it home. Number 2 for ROG on the back of a very scrappy A main fight. Look at the number of crosses on that A main side.
Exactly. Like, if you take a look at the mini map, this entire area just littered with crosses. So much utility exchange over there. Breach stuns, neon stuns. One undercut from Caramel was not enough because by the time he used it, everybody on the attacking side had already deployed their utility. And even though ROG Academy stacked majority of their roster towards this area, they still kind of lost the aim duels. I don't think they were expecting the force buy from the side of Ascend Youth. Plus,
Yeah, probably not.
they recovered the weapons as well, which were in the hands of ROG players. All those Guardians and Buckies, really helpful.
Yeah, they have bought in completely though, and it seems like ROG want to go on a bit of an aggressive push on towards A, and the judge comes out here. It's in the hands of La Flame. He's got a very tight angle to hold on to here. They're not keen on challenging him. The trip wire has been broken, by the way. So that's going to just keep them at bay here. Out he goes. Gives a bit of damage onto the Neon. Slides away to safety. The Paranoia follows him up, but Max is keeping him safe. Caramel tries to take that opportunity as a bit of a distraction to get himself towards mid. And like I said, Caramel is going to do that time and time again. And this time, Ascend Youth are ready for it. They know that the leader is very, very sneaky like that. They just cut him off and restrict the flow of control for ROG. And back they go to their lines. And Lavish, he is in his own spawn, but he's got players coming in towards him. One tap God, though, does get down one. Rexy will get the trade. La Flame judges down the one player towards A main, which was Roy Mustang. And he picks up a Vandal to go back and fight towards mid. Lavish chooses to not fire the bullets and he holds on for a better timing. He gets it down and the neural theft comes in. Hides himself in his cage, waits for his teammates, and this is now a 3v2 that turns out to be a very difficult situation because the post-plant positions are horrible right now for the attack.
And Cherry sprayed down through the Neon fast lane. Good stuff by ROG Academy. I really thought the moment Caramel went down towards mid, that would be the end of it because there were so many attacking avenues for Ascend Youth that they could have exploited. They've won a fight on mid by killing Caramel, won one more fight on top of mid, managed to get away as well from there with the numbers advantage. And B side was completely up for takings. At the same time, they have a lurker towards A who could have surprised, and it would have been a very unpleasant surprise at that for ROG Academy. But La Flame manages to kill him, recover his weapon. And look at that. La Flame has once again gone back to the judge after passing that weapon over to one of his teammates. But Ascend Youth are not giving up on this half just yet. They're going in for a force buy. Plenty of Stingers and Spectres.
Spike down B.
Oh, Caramel. Aggression again, but he's been blinded. Needs to be careful. The shield's gonna expire very soon, so he does throw down the wall to just give himself an isolated angle. But one tap God's gonna be the one to take the first blood. They take them out towards B main as well. It is absolutely turmoil. A flawless round, which, by the way, not a single ounce of damage taken from ROG.
Yeah, flawless to the extent that nobody even gets shot at. Cool, so they don't just have to not reinvest in weapons, but they don't need to buy armor as well. That's a lot of money stacked up for ROG Academy. The more you save, the richer you get. Warren Buffet quotes coming out over here in terms of Valorant economy.
Well, the ISO's got his ultimate, and it's a very heavy stack on towards A, by the way, which is not the right read, but look at how quickly they swat away from here. They're gonna run to that B side, but Lavish has already made their lives easier. One tap god is towards mid. He will be taking on the fight, and he will win it. Penny's gone down. This Judge is holding on to that A side. Here comes one ultimate, followed up with a person just running it down. And Caramel will win his 1v1 as well in his dimension. 5-0, and Sunset turning out to be, well, a nightmare for Ascent so far.
Yeah, no matter what they do, they're just not getting any success at it. Penny managed to get a couple of kills on mid in the first few rounds, but ever since that, all his adventures and excursions towards mid have been promptly shut down. Caramel, knowing that Lavish needs help over there on the B side, just used his ultimate at range, picks one player up so that the pressure is alleviated. And then I feel bad for Roy Mustang because he was supposed to be the planter. There were people supposed to cover him. But the people who were supposed to cover him were lifted up into ISO's dimension, so there's not much that they can do about it, leaving him to his own devices with no escape plans.
Well, this timeout is going to be very, very crucial for the side of Ascend Youth, because as much as they've had a game plan here, I've not really seen more of it being them trying to execute something. It's been more reactive to what ROG are doing. They're holding on to their lines. They're waiting for ROG to make a move. And even on A, even on mid, they're just waiting to see what ROG are doing. The only round that I actually saw them do something was now, but that was also because they had to face off Lavish on side. The minute they lost one, they just kind of became haphazard. They just did not know where to settle in for their post-plant positions. So it's clearly there is a bit of a disconnect between what they want to do and what ROG are forcing them to kind of do. So I hope that after this timeout, they find the confidence to actually settle into their own game plan of trying to maybe execute a certain site or even take control of a certain part of the map. Because ROG right now they're sitting on the comfiest lounge chair that they can find, and they're just kicking them straight on the shin.
Yeah, they've got that launch air all rolled out, set in stone over there. Can't be taken away from them, but
Yeah.
Love Flame challenges his own teammates one-way smoke and pays the price for it. Run and gun on the Stinger. That's going to get the kill onto one type god as well. Max tries to trace the outlines of his enemies using the minimap feed, but he can't really do much. Kind of overeager over there, trying to defend the site by himself. Knows that he would be overwhelmed, but still tries to go for it. This might just be the first round that Ascend Youth pick up for themselves.
Cage triggered. One enemy remaining.
Oh, Penny. He's got Caramel on the other side, and he's just managed to get away. Caramel! No. Stationary targets are definitely the most difficult to hit in this game. We've seen that before from multiple different angles.
I'll go in first.
5-1, and finally Ascend on the back of that bit of a settle down and a talk. They get their first round. And not to mention that they've built up a Rolling Thunder, a Hunter's Fury, and from the Shadows as well. So this is going to be a very powerful round from them. High impact if they do decide to churn in those ultimates, which it seems like they are definitely going to. There is a retaliation coming their way. La Flame is very, very keen on jumping the gun here. He is going aggressive. The stun goes only for the one bolt. I feel like he could have put it a little bit more towards the right side to kind of maybe cripple them more, but it's different. Yeah, okay, well, he's gotten it done. It is still a 4v4 though. Entry comes through. A double for one tap got almost secured. Very lucky to be alive, and he somehow thinks that he can just safely get away from there. One tap god just shuts down everybody on side. And Rexyu, left alone, has so many targets, but he takes care of one. Finds a second, not gonna be the case. 6-1. And I like the idea, but La Flame, I feel like that stun could have been a lot more useful if just a little bit towards the right instead of just a one bolt to stun the guy who would swing
Yeah,
you out from behind that box.
yeah, and you don't need to place it that high as well. You can place it somewhat at the head level so that it bounces back from that little box over there, covers more ground.
Planted.
'Cause this time, the second bolt of the sun just kind of landed back where you started near the barrier. Also, One Tap God tried to assist him with the paranoia. You can see that One Tap God had the best intentions, but La Flame was just a little too ahead to let the paranoia even take effect. But yeah, One Tap God more than makes up for what La Flame couldn't. And this time it's going to be a rather slow start from the side of Ascend Youth. They're going to slowly try to keep up towards mid, place the smokes over there, but there's a gap that La Flame could have exploited. He tries to repeat that angle. That is brave. Audacious even. I would have been worried about getting pre-fired over there, but it seems like La Flame is braver than me. Let's see if this boldness pays off because Caramel's about to push the envelope. Penny goes for the pre-fire. Lavish recovers with just the one. Penny with the double. Once again, brings things back in control, and Max tries to cross over towards mid. Doesn't get much done.
Last player
Oh,
standing.
La Flame
Ooh.
stunned, so his scope forces close.
Really good stun at that as well. One tap guard. He did carve out a 3k in the previous round.
Planted.
Something similar here could be magical. He does have a teleport to go past the tripwire, which I feel like he a little farther away. I think he's been hurt. I'm not sure. No, he's not been hurt. No movement on the map, but main's already being watched. They've got the Sova there, so Mustang's just gonna take that first contact onto him. Tap God, ready for it? No, he's not. Double tap. Mustang God takes him out.
And that's going to be the second for Ascend Youth. Much needed round for them as they are starting to build up their ultimates as well. Penny also just 1 point away from the neural theft. That being said, quite a lot of big ultimates available on the side of ROG Academy as well. La Flame has been holding on to that overdrive since quite some time. Lavish hasn't had the opportunity to use the neural theft. But unlike the Rolling Thunder, ROG Academy don't have any big ultimates which will let them literally overpower an entire area of the map. Nice high-low setup over here to kill anyone who's coming out of tiles. AOH though has the stun ready for the A main area, which should hit One Tap God and La Flame square in the face if he times it right. Just waiting for a contact from the drone. Yep, there you go. One Tap God it's covered, so he's probably gonna get stunned over here. But La Flame tries to go ahead a little too much, gets over eager. Thought that his judge would be able to do a lot more than it actually did. One-way smoke, not really possible.
Ooh.
Max somehow saves One Tap God even though he was kind of flashed. Penny with the op. Kills the lurker in form of Lavish.
I know exactly
Ooh,
But
one
all
tap
ROG
God.
Academy
He's
have converged over here and I don't know why he decided to peek out over there. Maybe he got a little too eager. Tried to beat them to the punch before the neural theft kicked in.
He thought he had a timing there that was available to him. Not going to be the case. So Penny will be spotted with the op, but while he did have support running behind him just about in time, Penny did not need it, and Rexu will take down the last member as well. 6-3. That is Ascend Youth now starting to settle into their map pick here. After losing out on a couple of members early on, they're not going to be given any more leeway, it seems, ROG Academy. They've got a bunch of ultimates again. Karamel's one away from his as well. So it is going to be quite a brawl in this round because La Flame has the Bucky and it seems like he wants to probably challenge mid. Smoke comes his way. He's going to actually crawl through it, and with a sheriff of all things, gets away with murder. And now he goes down further. That's the first target. Slides across, gets him. Stun, gonna be good enough. Yes, and Cyrus will take him down. That's a 3v4 now. And I think ROG have done more than enough, but Lavish is not done just yet. He wants to go through the smoke. He will manage to find at least the one target. And Rexu dies in the most unfortunate of circumstances. Max allowing the Neon to go backside. He knows Mustang is around the corner. He's going to hold on to that angle for as long as he can. And here comes the ultimate. They isolate the one, they get the other. And even if Karamel loses, which he definitely will not, it is going to be 7-3.
Yeah, Karamel using his ultimate in the smartest of ways. when Ascend Youth are at their most vulnerable. In that kind of a situation, even if Caramel loses the duel, his teammates will be there to welcome the player back into the mortal realm and send him back to the nether realm. That being said, though, ROG Academy, it's a common pattern now. I've seen it from Lavish now. I've seen it from One Tap God in the previous round. Whenever there's a neural theft or something, or whenever their position's about to be revealed, they just push out through the smoke and they just throw themselves at the opponent, hoping that it will net them an advantage. That's a very early Hunter's Fury off the rip. Connects to nobody, but at least Penny connects a shot on the left lane.
Yeah. Gets away safely as well. No real threat following him up there. He goes back towards high mid and ROG Academy. They've got One Tap God set.
That was
A
labored.
very scrappy fight. The Vandals exchange bullets in the wrong directions, but Max is gonna put one in the right direction. He will be paranoid. He will have to get back here. He's alone. He's having to fight this wall by himself. A world war against him. And he's got support finally coming in. First one connects, the second one doesn't. One Tap God. He has to now trust Lavish to bring it down to a 1v2. Walks down towards main, and he's actually read this pretty well. He did throw in a cage, and now he's secured, I think, a bit of a good timing here. Takes out the first, will not expect the second there. Does he not check it? He's gonna hold on. There's a recon that's in his hand, Mustang. Oh, he has the advantage. No idea whatsoever that Lavish, that these two were gonna play together. 7-4, and we might head in the same direction as we did in the previous map because they did end 7-5. This could be similar as well.
Yeah, I have to point out over there, Dry Mustang, that was a bit of a teammate bait. I thought he would swing out immediately after Rexu died. And you could see that even Lavish was expecting him to peek from the other side. He thought that maybe they'd establish a crossfire of some sorts. Wouldn't have expected them both to stay in the same position and not peek at the same time. So yeah, that's a bit unorthodox. Yeah, Caramel wanted to pick up that fight before the door closed in, but no more surprises. Penny this time capitalizing on mid along with the rest of his team as well. So far, they haven't really exploited mid as much. The only time they've used it was like in the third or like the fourth round where they tried to brute force their way in towards mid. And even that did not pan out for them. After that, it's only been Penny just solo lurking towards mid. They haven't really seen the full team over there. They showcase presence and then they go back. Lavish playing in a one and done kind of spot.
Camera taken out.
Camera spotted, and Lavish will need help from Caramel if he's to survive this on his own. But they're actually backing off from this one. That's another blind ultimate from Max. He's shooting at absolutely nobody.
Yeah, they've run far away from this. They're
Yeah.
going to the A side, and they've got, I think, the only option to go here. The paranoia is going to stop them. Penny did spot out one, does give in a little bit of a warning shot. Spray down there, and Silas does find One Tap God. That Omen could not hold on. Max, again, paranoia will get taken out as well. Rexy follows it up. A stun from La Flame. He tries to move around, but he's surrounded by every single direction. And even the shield's gone down. Caramel, he's got Lavish by his side, but they're watching two different angles, and they've got so much ground to clear up here. A wall goes down, try to isolate that aim inside to get into the side. Not going to be the case though, because he's been tagged. He's been spotted by the camera as well. And while Penny goes down, he's got 3 more targets to hit. A cage available. Lavish could throw it down to kind of maybe isolate the fight once again. Pick the recon. They're trying to bait by as much time as they possibly can. But the first point of contact is going to enable a stun, and Caramel will get pushed back. 1 HP, barely anything he can do. 7-5, and that is a commendable amount of comeback put in here by Ascend, because they was 5-0 down.
Yeah, they were 5-0 down, and after that, they managed to put together 5 rounds all on the back of just A-side assaults. Really good. But this shows a severe flaw in the ROG Academy bootcamp. Like, they were absolutely spot on when it comes to defending the B side and retaking the B side. I think they've won almost every single round on B, but on A, they were not able to hold it at all, especially towards elbow. Whether it's Max holding there or whether it's One Tap God holding there, they almost always get blinded and are taken down before they can create any impact. So yeah, that elbow region being extremely weak for the side of ROG Academy. If only Ascend Youth figured it out sooner, they probably would have been able to exploit it even more.
Caramel again towards mid, but he's got so much on the other side of it. While his team's already taken control of that B side, and the tripwire's a little away from them. Shield goes up. Caramel, too much on his shoulders to kind of bear there, and he will die under the weight of it. Max gets into the side. The tripwire's been put down, and that's a really good setup from Penny.
Wow.
He gets a 3 kill.
Wow.
A fadeaway triple with a ghost. Not
Look.
something you see even in 100 maps.
Yeah, man, and look at Lavish. Like, he had already started making headway into the A site itself when they decided to full commit the spike towards B. If only they would have waited a couple of seconds, waited for Lavish to call that the site is clear, they probably could have fallen back and taken control of it. They could have gotten a free plant. Yeah, what happened to Caramel on mid? That's kind of unfortunate. That's fine. But at least with that, they figured out that there's 3 on mid. They thought that maybe since there's 3 on mid already, B would be somewhat weak. Maybe we can take it right now. And they were correct. There was only one defender over there, but my goodness, that one defender, Penny, he weighed down on them so much.
Oh, a very strong round once again. And from the last game, Penny's been carrying his team into this one as well. Back on top of the scoreboard, he goes across everybody. And he's got a judge now, which is not something you see usually as a Cypher. No tripwire to be broken because they've just not put one. As the fake is heading in towards that B side. Penny's holding on to that judge in the smoke. Tripwire secures itself safely. He's put it across the other part of the wall here. They're not
Look at
being...
Lavish
Oh,
again.
wait, they've been completely sold here.
Yeah, it's a gamble stack towards the B side. Gamble doesn't pay off, and that's why you shouldn't bet, boys. Classic example of how you can get a site for free.
Spike planted.
Now let's see if Lavish is able to put up some resistance over here. He's going to be the first point of contact, and they're going to clear everything all the way from CT. They don't leave anything to chance. Caramel probably going to be taken out next since Penny is coming in from the flank.
Oh,
Does
the
he check
timing.
behind him?
No,
Nope,
he
they don't see
doesn't.
each other. Like 2 ships in the night, they just sail past each other. At least Caramel will be detected thanks to the tripwire.
Yeah, Recon's gonna hold him off for a second. He's gonna re-peek and peek that again. A smoke from one tap god. He's gonna try and play around it. La Flame misses the shots, and so will one tap god in his smoke. Around that, honestly, could have been a very doable thing for the side of ROG Academy if they had played for a little bit of time. The problem being, look at how deep they went in to try and maybe just kind of isolate these fights in. First, Lavish, I understand he's a Cypher, he's going to go in pretty deep, but the rest of them should have tried to play for the plant instead of going for the, fight themselves. I feel like if they had wasted a little more time, because you saw that the spike was almost like, I think there was 4 seconds left before it could have been diffused, before it could have, gone past the diffusal point. So, 4 more seconds of them staying alive, it would have been a different case.
Yeah, it would have been a different story altogether. You don't often get rounds where you're just handed the site for free. So you got to capitalize on them when you have the chance for it. And Sidis also gets stunned. Shorty at the ready. His teammate AOH coming in to rescue. Not enough weaponry to stop the assault of ROG Academy, but maybe Roy Mustang can pull something off. He's been undetected so far, and he's still paranoid about getting shot in the back. Has to worry about the front first, actually.
Last player standing. Spike planted.
Yeah, okay, that's a little disgusting.
That's painful to watch.
Being played with La Flame, he does get him in the end, but unfortunately not going to be any more than a round for ROG. 8-7, and they've got Caramel's ultimate now, which is a very good piece of utility, especially to just run into the side very quickly. And if he's gonna be able to manage to find Penny with that ultimate, I think they will instantly be able to infiltrate the side B side. And it seems like they're going exactly that way, because look at where Caramel is standing. He's gonna put in that towards Garage.
It's you and
He's getting ready for it, and Penny's gone.
Yeah, he's been picked up. Let's see if he wins the duel. Caramel wins the duel. He's going to be returning to a safe spot, but what about the rest? Oh, Rexu, he thought he's still in danger from mid. Gets shot in the back as he leaves side unattended.
Spike planted.
That's a 3v3 now. Drone doesn't really spot much, so not too many usable pieces of information over here. One tap god though gets instantly destroyed by Insidious. Nice Hunter's Fury. This should help Max get quite a lot. Even even. Caramel picks up one. And he's ready for Insidious. They're playing push and pull with him.
Yeah. I got a little concerned when one tap god is in completely an open stance there.
Yeah.
His own smoke, he knows when it's going to dissipate, right? He just chose to try and maybe find a timing to walk across and sit in that corner. Nope. Not gonna happen. And then came the Hunter's Fury, which I was like, yeah, okay, maybe the post now would have been better for the tap. But then I understand, yes, it's just for a distraction, and they know that one player is pretty low. So all they need to do is that the fact that they spotted at least 2 in CT, they need to shoot it down, find if they get one tag. They did, and then Caramel uses that as the distraction to find another. So works out perfectly. Number 9 for the attackers. And now Ascend
What
going on the
on
aggressive. What in the world did Ansai's just pull off?
Whoa. That was a disaster from the
They
get-go.
found my wire. My camera is
Instantly
destroyed.
destroyed whatever setup ROG Academy was cooking. I don't think they even intended to go towards B. They picked up a fight over there. Sure, they got a kill or two over there, but look at the spike. It's so deep inside the enemy territory. Lavish. Nice way to open things up, but I don't think he gets anything more than this. It's a high-low setup. Ready with Ansiris and Roy Mustang. Oh my god,
Oh
they actually
my
managed to
God.
isolate the fights, and Caramel is on fire. What?
Oh, Lavish gets him as well. Oh my god. How have they lost this? How have they lost this?
I do not have an answer. I really hope that was the rhetorical question, Universe. That was a 2v4, losing to just pure aim duels.
Why is nobody watching towards the spawn division? Why is the breach looking at mid? And nobody watching one of the most obvious angles that they could come from?
Oh. Some questions are better left unanswered. I don't think I want to know why.
Well,
Yeah, this is gonna be Ascend you just kicking themselves in the face, and Ansiris
what
tripping
is
over his
happening?
own legs, tripping over his own shoelaces.
you
Look
and me.
at that position from One Tap God. He's so deep inside. Basically, the entire A side is under their control now. Oh, Caramel, rare loss of a duel, but that's okay. They're ready to welcome AOH back on the site.
They found my wire.
AOS does deliver some damage before he leaves out, but
know
Lavish
exactly
is so
where.
quick on his timing. Penny expected it, unfortunately it was just not good enough for him to be that quick. Laflame jumps out to the side, Lavish gets the first, and Max will hit in from the side with the shock dart to find the second. And ROG Academy back on their feet with their confidence, winning 3 in a row to put themselves up on 11, and Sunset is, well, it definitely slowly the sun is setting
goes
on
there.
Ascend Youth here.
Yeah, this should do.
Oh, it's a short day. Once again, Ascend you thrown into the abyss of economic peril. Not many weapons in hand, just a couple of sheriffs and singers. They're trying to deny map point to ROG Academy. And once again, it's a gamble towards the B side. This time at least they give up on this gamble quite quickly after discovering that nobody's coming over here. Before ROG Academy can venture into the A side, the rotation will most likely arrive in time. Penny calls his teammates for help. He can hear the footsteps. But Caramel still wins all the possible duels over here. Side taken in control. Even the mid lurk from Lavish is perfect. Nobody expects it. Next view
Remaining.
puts his killing spree to an end, but that's about it. That's all she wrote for them.
Yep, match point, just staring up the horizon here. Mustang delivers a snappy shot there. And he's got 3 more to go. But he's so far away from everything. He's just holding on, waiting for somebody to come to his crosshair. Nothing to be found. Caramel takes him out. He's 2 away from the kill contract once again. And he's been on an absolute tear here, this duelist.
Yeah. I wouldn't have expected Caramel on ISO like in a million years. It's just not something he plays much. But boy, he is effective. He's a merchant of death over here. Very profitable one at that. Sitting at 21 kills and 12 deaths so far. It's only Laflame who's kind of in the negative KD for his team. Even one time got just slightly away from the positives. His assists make up for it.
Yeah, it's the impact of the team that's, kind of spilling into this whole thing, not the individual kills that they find. It's the fact that you've got your ISO doing most of the setup work for you. Rexu does not find any. I don't know what exactly he tried to do there, but he does cancel off. So it does throw in maybe a little bit of confusion onto ROG. But Lavish has actually crawled past Penny here. An ultimate from the breach does find them one, but Lavish trades back on towards the ace side. They need to run back here. Stun on both sides. One tap god is alive. One tap god gets the first. Tries to teleport away. No, he will have to stand and fight. And now that's left Lavish. One strong ultimate is all they needed to win this round. And it seems like it's worked out in their favor. But we've seen them lose a 2v4. What's to not give them evidence of the fact that they could lose a 1v3? One extremely well-held vertical angle that could chase the game unless Lavish somehow managed to even isolate this. Not going to be the case. Rexu takes him out. That's going to be 12 and 8 as Send have 4 more tries to try and bring this back.
And it feels like deja vu once again. Once again, Lavish manages to sneak in towards the A side. This time he does it from mid, wins the duel. And as soon as they discover Lavish over there, everybody else on the ROG Academy side just dies on B with the spike in their hands. And Lavish is forced to recover that spike, which is nearly impossible. It's happened once again. Can't believe we've seen the exact same round twice in a row. Not in a row, but like, yeah, twice in this game.
Oh, here we go. Here comes the sliding judge. And this time it connects. And there's the ball, lightning bolt as well. Overdrive's just gonna make sure it's a little bit more difficult for him. He runs around, but Mustang does connect the shot. Vertical angle comes in. He's ready for that as well. One tap god. A little too ambitious there on the back of trying to follow up for his Neon. A 3v3 here. The plant's gonna go down. Comments on side. He does have the undercut, but Lavish doesn't need it. Drone goes out, spots out one, and they know where the other is as well. Both the players spotted in towards the region of spawn, and this should be the end of a sin unless Mustang can pull off another bit of magic here. He's brought down to 51 HP, a recon. They know that both of them are here, there's no point, but they're worried about somebody coming in from the main side. Not going to be the case. First contact, Lavish goes down. Mustang looking for the ace clutch here. Not going to work out for him because Max and Karamel are ready, and they will secure map number 2.
Lovely performance from ROG Academy over there. As I'm going to be honest, I was worried about that for a second. There were plenty of rounds where the comeback of Ascend Youth seemed like it was conclusive. It seemed like they would be able to not just make the comeback, but also take the lead away from ROG Academy. There were some brilliant rounds up their arsenal, up their sleeves, but unfortunately, all those brilliant rounds don't stack up enough to push them over the finish line to get them to 13.
Absolutely. I thought that the game was over the minute they started stacking up those 4 rounds together in a row. When they were 8 and 7 up, they put up 4 in a row, brought it to 11. They even went up to 12 after that as well. The only round that they lost was just because of the rolling thunder that was there in their hand, and because they had a good read to find out that there were 3, maybe 4 targets towards that B main side. But from the beginning till the end, ROG Academy had, I would say, if not complete control, at least the fact that they had one hand on the steering wheel at all times. It was never like they had a single moment in the game where they were kind of losing out on stuff at all.
Yeah. While they have one hand on the steering wheel, there were often moments where a couple of these players decided to press the gas a little too early. And it was a consistent pattern, which I noticed with both One Tap God and Lavish. Whenever they thought that the position's about to be revealed, they just push out the smoke, hoping that they'd be able to take a couple of players down before they die and bite the dust themselves. So that's a bit of a tendency that I've noticed from the players of ROG Academy. That being said, this tendency does pay off every now and then. They would often get kills. They would go down swinging. And it would often create an advantageous situation for their team. But it is technically a bad habit, and I wouldn't want to encourage it.
Well, it seems like they might end up doing that. They've done that on Haven as well, and I feel like it's something that they kind of is a playstyle that they are okay with playing, because they find the fact that, okay, you know what, I'm in risk anyway. If I have a 90% chance of dying, might as well take that 10% chance where I can probably get 1 kill and get out. Because usually at that point, you don't expect somebody to push out that closely to you that quickly, do you? Because you just got out of that angle. So for most part, unless you're someone like a Leo or a Chronicle, you don't look back in the same angle as quickly. But for the times that you don't look back, it is a possibility that you can get away with at least a, I would say, 2 out of 5 chance that you get away with a kill there.
Interestingly enough, those 2 out of the 5 chances actually paid off for ROG Academy.
Yep.
And there were 2 out of those rounds where ROG Academy also managed to get the site for free, especially on A. So many instances where their opponents stacked up the B site, Lovich manages to get into the A site, and they are able to get the plant for free. And even though all of that happens, even though the site is just dropped into the lap of ROG Academy, they somehow fumble the ball and they lose plenty of those rounds on the A side where they were supposed to be able to hold it down with an iron grip. Especially on defense, quite a lot
Mm-hmm.
of gaps we could see, especially when One Tap God was defending there along with Max. They would often be blinded and they would be completely taken out of the equation when it comes to holding down elbow or holding down the A side. They were just simply unable to play together as a unit, and it would just seem like they were playing like two individual players over there who would just give up their lives whenever the opponent faces them. They hope to
Yeah.
take one down before they are eventually traded off, but it would result in a man disadvantage for ROG nonetheless. And that's one thing that ROG Academy need to fix about their Sunset gameplay on defense. Just stack up the A side, not even necessarily stack, just adjust your positions in a place where you can actually hold the A side without dying too much. But their B
Mm-hmm.
side was relatively strong.
Yeah, this is something that I think I spotted this yesterday when I was watching the Paper X vs Sentinels match as well, right? Where I think it's a kind of a pattern to kind of actually let A side be more of a retake friendly, where it's not as necessary for them, or at least, excuse me, in their game plan to be on that A side for a defensive unit. It's more of a, okay, we get information. Are they coming here? Are they going to take the side? All right, we're going to take a step back. We're going to throw in a little bit of utility, and then we're going to get back into the side later. Because A has a lot more variability when it comes to trying to retake. You have multiple different angles you can approach it with, especially given the fact that you can flank pretty well. Because when you are on towards that main side of spawn, on that ramp side, you will be able to kind of pinch in when somebody comes in from the flank as well, because they're now going to be worried about 2 different angles, right? So it is a very more retake friendly side than B is, because B is one thing. Now we all know what it was: sit behind, put your own smoke, and just spam. That was all it was, right? And it's something still a little similar to that, because it's still spammable even on that right side corner inside of the side. But the A side is a lot more retake friendly, and when you can see that Paper X do that kind of a gameplay, you would expect that you understand that it is something of a retake friendly side. You might want to go in for that game plan, but we also did see them take that judge up with La Flame multiple times and aggress to hold that A main line for as long as they possibly could.
Yeah. The aggression over there somehow tempered. RG Academy were able to maintain that map quite well, and with that, they've taken a 2-0 lead in the series. But, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, this is not a best of 3 match. It's just 3 maps back to back. So even though technically if this was a best of 3 series, ROG Academy would have won so far, but we want everybody to get as much quality practice in as possible. So we're going to be playing the third map also nonetheless. We're going to be jumping into Lotus soon, where ROG Academy will be starting on defense.
Yep. ROG Academy will be starting on defense, and we will be witnessing them maybe pick up another triple duelist comp. They did this last time, by the way, when they played the previous game, where in the final map, their composition just kind of spawned a complete randomness on split. This was just to mention. And now maybe something similar, I'm not sure, could go for the same. We'll have a look at it. The agent select will be coming up in just about a few seconds here on our screens as Lotus is getting pumped and ready. What do you expect, Reps? Do we see another triple duelist here just to kind of loosen it up a little?
I would really not want a triple duelist from the side of RG Academy. Lotus is one of the maps which they actually do practice quite a lot, and this lineup that they use has been quite standard for them ever since they started playing this game. Like they use the fade and breach combination quite a lot over here, like any other team would, and on top of that, they also use the omen and neon. I don't know which Sentinel will pick this time. Oh, apparently, okay, the Sentinel this time apparently is Vice. Normally, it's either Vice or Cypher, so no surprises over there. Ascend Youth also go for a very similar composition, the only difference being Penny, who's going to be sticking to Cypher rather than taking Vice.
Yeah, a Wise on Lavish. Was this the same composition that they played last time when we saw them
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
Lotus?
It's
Yeah,
always been the
yeah,
same. The
yeah.
only
So
like the only time they'll experiment is like instead of a Vice, they'll pick up either a Killjoy or like a Cypher or something. But that's about it. The rest of the composition has been the same. Although there are a couple of role changes. It's Caramel who's picked up the role of the Fade this time. Max is
mhm.
on Breach.
Yeah, that is a bit of difference here. I love the fact that Caramel can practically play almost anything and still be a really useful member of his team. He can play the duelist, he can play the breach, he can play now the fade as well. We've seen him on Viper. He's played the Sentinel. He's played the Cipher. I mean, Killjoy as well at a certain point of time. He quite really is the all rounder for this ROG Academy squad. And have you noticed that
Hmm.
nothing on Ascend Youth's composition has changed across the last across both the maps and even this one? They've played the
Actually,
same comp
yeah,
all three
across all
maps.
three maps. Yeah, across all three maps. Hey
They've
man,
played the
if
exact same
one
comp.
universal comp works for you, then why not? It would be so convenient, right? Knowing exactly what everyone plays on every single map and not having to adjust based on compositions every now and then. I think that's like one major headache taken out of their head. You know, they don't have to worry about that because ROG Academy have had plenty of role changes. Like we've seen Caramel play every single role. He's played the breach, he's played the duelist, he's played the info initiator. Lavish, surprisingly, has been like the Lavish and One Top are the only ones who have maintained their roles throughout the maps. Lavish has been playing the Sentinel, either the Cypher or the Vice. One Top God has been playing the Omen.
Mm-hmm.
La Flame has changed his agents. He's changed Neon and Jet. Both of them have drastically different playstyles, and
Yeah.
Max also went from the Sova to Breed. So yeah, there's been plenty of role changes on ROG Academy, but none whatsoever on Ascend Youth. Hopefully, they can keep that momentum up.
Well, we're gonna find out if or not this momentum's gonna stay on their hands. Penny has been very, very
Yeah.
insightful for his team in terms of kills and even with his lurks, but his team have to start keeping up with it. While the numbers have been there at times, it's just not been impactful numbers from his team. So this time around, it's gonna have to be a different story if they want to at least provide themselves with one map before they end up this show match. Lotus is, of course, a playground for the side of ROG Academy. They love playing this map. We've seen it before as well. How do they respond to this one? Is there a game plan for Ascend Youth on this map? We're going to find out as a game will begin in just a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit of
Hmm.
a pause here as I think La Flame is disconnected and he will be back in shortly.
I don't even think he's disconnected. Maybe he's just going to use the washroom or something. I mean, they've been playing two maps back to back, so probably a couple of minutes for themselves. That's all they need, and we should be good to go. But yeah, the players, they have been playing back to back. They haven't really taken any breaks in between maps as well, so they didn't have much time to have a discussion. 5 minutes at best. That's all they get, and Lord knows that it's not. And Laughing has his run, so I guess we
Mhm.
can get the
Yeah.
game going.
Yep, let's go. I think the game should start any second now. Everybody's ready. I can hear, I think the teams stating that they are ready to go. They're good to go. And we should be beginning the game. And it seems like Ascend you to have a bit of an inkling to go in towards that seaside with a bit of a split, maybe. I'm not sure. The breach is situated outside of B, and he is pointing his turn towards the cavity of C, where they've got Lavish over there. And I expect this to be a C hit. It's still likely that this could be a split on towards B because they are keen on maybe opening the door, finding B control, and then maybe moving in forward. As ROG themselves are interested in finding map control outside of B. So this is going to be a little bit of, I think, a surprise for Ascend. They might not expect an early pistol B push.
And if there is a B push, Max will be ready for them, but he uses the stun towards A lobby. That gets Penny. And look at that. Nice flash once again. That should have been able to kill AOH. The stun almost gets him, but Penny from the backline saves his life. And now they're going to hightail it east side where Lavish lies in wait. Flash already used, so he doesn't have much of a resistance over here. But Max manages to get another escape kill onto Roy Mustang as he falls back, bringing the situation back to a 3v3.
Caramel. Very neat angle here, and Penny.
Try again.
No, that is a very nasty shot from him. Stood his ground, shot him down, and will just slowly move back to the A side and play a better angle. He's got a recon, throws it down. They know that both of them are here now. Paranoia is good, they know exactly where he is. He's got a little bit of time to help himself, and he will get the first. Follows up the second, a 3k for the round as Caramel starts off ROG Academy on the first pistol win, I think in 3 maps. Not the first pistol, I think like the first round that is a pistol. Round 1, I mean.
Yeah. They've lost both the round 1s in both the maps so far. Every single time ROG Academy, except for Sunset maybe. On Sunset they started off with 5-0. But in Haven, ROG Academy did not win the pistol. Sunset second half, they did not win the pistol. So there's been quite a lot of pistol losses this time. Caramel saves the day. And that is after Valorant overextended a little towards the B side in the process of hunting down AOH. Oh, and look at the speed this time.
Okay. That's a bit of an overextension, but it's all because they are on Nico and they just want to find any sense of value they can. Paranoia misses. The Prowler won't. Neither will the bullets of One Tap God. Just a one little bit of casualty here for the side of ROG Academy. Nothing to worry about. They get a pretty decent round here. And a good amount of weaponry to head into the bonus as well, which is going to include an Outlaw. So
that's perfect, actually, because Penny and Roy Mustang don't really have full armor.
Yep.
That Outlaw should be able to dispatch them quite easily.
Oh,
and yeah, it was
go on.
kind of bold of Lavish to go ahead of the smoke with the Outlaw to go and fight them, even though Max had already died over there.
Oh, yeah, he didn't connect that shot onto anybody. And Cyrus got away from there. The Outlaw's going to have to be pulled back. Max, though, goes in for that Sheriff shot. Does deliver one. Here's the first shot. The second connects as well. And Lavish makes sure that he covers up for what he missed in the first fight that he had. Now 2 players pretty down low on that side. And he takes out Rexu as well. The Outlaw doing absolute God's work. The judge comes in and he holds on to that fast. The speed a little too long over there. Unfortunately for him, LaFlame just could not connect the judge as he was expecting them to be a little deeper on that bend. Should have held the judge, but it doesn't matter. He's got his teammates coming in to his cover, to his help. And One Tap God will secure alongside Caramel. Round number 3.
Yeah, what a way to convert the bonus. Lavish. Every time he misses the shot of the Outlaw, he falls back just a little bit. Every single time, he's offered the duels once again, even though he's playing at a slightly more backwards position. So he gets to use the Outlaw at range nonetheless. And then on top of that, Max, he's been jumping out of the waterfall smoke just to make sure that Ascend Youth don't really get comfortable in that spot. Playing once again, the movement not exactly at its top-notch form, but the utility to help him out is amazing. And with that, they take control of Rubble.
A main's completely off limits for the attack side. There's no shot they're going any further than here. And to make it worse, they've actually thrown in the smoke deeper to clear out that close angle. Lavish does miss the shot onto Rexu, but Mustang also connects one onto LaFlame. They've brought it down to a 3v3, and that's 2 weapons that they can even find back as well. They're going to go and recover the first, but the push does come in through. Doesn't matter what they've got. When they're double peeking like that, One Tap God and Max will connect everything. Rexu hits one back. He is 10 HP. Forgive me, Lavish did hit that previous shot. It was just that Rexu had full armor.
Yeah, down to just 1 HP. They put him out of his misery in the end. And ROG Academy crunch the A lobby like there's no tomorrow. I was actually surprised that the members of Ascend Youth decided to go back and fight towards A lobby. They had clear entry into the B side after they managed to get the kill onto Lavish. They could have easily gone in towards B and planted, but they didn't know that for sure. They thought that B would still have much more resistance, so they were still keen on killing the backstabbers, or in this case, there wasn't really much of a backstab either. It's just A lobby being pushed in so deep. Fast lane by Insidious. We haven't seen this before, but he dives across. The recon reveals him, and he's getting shot through the
I
X-ray.
know exactly.
But still, numbers advantage in the hands of Ascend Youth. Nice paranoia to push Roy Mustang into that corner, but one tap god still manages to spray them both down. It's Penny and AOH who come in from behind, from the B side, to finally put up the first round on board. And in all of this, the spike was still lying towards T-spawn, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
This goes
Well, Ascend will find themselves round number 1 for the bare minimum of getting themselves on the board, but they still have an economical deficit that's not going to help them too much. Mustang has to be forced to play on a Bulldog. Nobody else who can drop. I think if AOH goes on a half armor, he can probably afford him a Vandal, but it seems like he's happy with what he's got. But the problem being, ladies and gentlemen, 4 big ultimates on one side to stop them, and nothing for Ascend to utilize in terms of getting a round victory ultimate here. La Flame gets in and out of spaces, not gonna find any value though, but AOH will get one. Max, he will get a trade back. La Flame a little too deep with the judge. Has got his wall. He's gonna go in deep. He will get the kill with a bit of support. A main has been shut down, and that spike is out of remission. There's no way they're gonna find it here.
Player standing.
Oh, Rex, you could have had an angle. Caramel wasn't looking towards him, but Max covers him. And now Penny. He's been lurking quite well, but this time
down.
close, but no cigar. Gets the shot onto Lavish, but now everybody knows where he is. And La Flame, he's gonna guard this area with the judge. No, he lost it. 78 HP, still clutchable. He knows where the other two players must be. Can he expect Caramel to be this close though? Yes, he does, but at the same time, Max also peeks out. Good recovery by ROG Academy. They concede one round alone to their opponents and then bring it back. This will actually be worse for their economy. Winning one round and then losing the immediate next one will put so much more economic pressure on you, because then you don't have the max loss bonus.
It's not just the fact that none of the ultimates that are available on ROG were used in the previous round.
Yeah.
And now on top of that, they've got a 5th as well. Love Flame's got his ultimate online as well. So you've got 5 ultimates on one side. Yeah, while you've got your Neon Overdrive as well. It's a round with Sheriffs. There's not much you can try to kind of move around here. And now there's a C and B crunch coming in, which Penny is very, very unfortunately going to be a part of. But he still delivers the headshot to a stunned up, tripped up Neon. And Lavish is all alone on the side. All of them coming in from the side of 3. He's got the first, he's got the second, sprays down the 3rd, and the 4th trying to just kind of maybe get into a bit of a sneaky position in that smoke. One tap god is ready for that as well. Absolutely crawled into that A side as quickly as they can, but just as fast they have been surrounded. ROG Academy not leaving any stone unturned here when it comes to covering up the bases of their opponents being turned.
Yeah, I have no idea how Lavish managed to survive over there for so long. He should have been dead to rights with that triple peak. But somehow all of them end up missing their shots. They also line up for Lavish, so he can just spray them down. And the one player, Insidious, who got across, died while he was trying to climb on top of that rope. Oh, this Hunter's Fury should definitely get the better of Lavish. Kills him once and for all. But in retaliation, ROG Academy push out of B and get a frag onto Penny over there. Insidious dies towards 3. And here the Rolling Thunder comes through.
Oh, that's a wonderful ultimate. That is brilliant. Yeah, Rexu's gone. Yeah, there's nothing he can do unless that was a cosmetic stun. That could have helped him out. That could be the case. Max saves his teammates, but he's going to set him up as well. The stun is just about enough for Caramel to find a 4K. He clips one for himself as his 7 rounds come up on the board. And this is turning out to be an even stronger half than they've had the previous 2 maps. Previously, they reached the 7-round mark around the point where you've seen Ascend already pick up maybe 2 or 3 rounds, or at least 4. But this time it's 7-1. While of course, yes, that 7-5 is still a possibility. Looking at what they've got on their hand to fight with, though, it's most likely certain that an 8th round is inevitable here.
Yeah, and Ascent don't even have much utility to work with, so this could be an 8th round for ROG Academy. Love Flame. Armed with the judge, he's going way too close for comfort. Kills Penny before anything can be done. Lavish, will he be checked? No, he won't. Everybody's blind, and he nets himself a lovely little highlight montage over there.
Well, it seems like every round is just a highlight montage clip for another person on ROG's team. First, it was Caramel. Now it's Lavish. Who's next? Who's gonna take it next?
I believe it's One Tap God's turn. He hasn't really done much in this map so far.
Yeah, One Tap God could go for one. I think he definitely has. He's got a couple from the previous maps, though. He did have, I think, a 4K and a 3K from the first map, and even one in the second map as well. So it is a shout for him that he can just get, round it up completely, get one from each map. Colorful little, 3 squares on your Instagram page.
Yeah. Love Flame has been sort of under the weather here. Not really playing to his full potential.
Yeah.
Wasn't feeling well yesterday, but that being said, I don't really discourage him from continuing what he's doing right now. Like, he's been just taking up the judge and getting in their faces. Yeah, and often he's forced to pick up fights where the judge can't really be effective. Sometimes he's a little too far for his own good, but more often than not, whenever he's too far, his teammates cover up and they manage to, finish the job that he started. And once he gets into your face, then the judge just judge things. At that point, it's all cool. Look at that, once again, going up close and Lavish tries to play at the same spot once again, this time rather unsuccessful. And then CS gets the kill onto B as well. Caramel brings it back. Oh, that was almost another round where Caramel would have been taken out early, but the Nightfall connects onto multiple players. Stun is also amazing. And Sirius uses his own relay board to just keep the Neon at bay. Can Penny cover up? No, he cannot.
What do you even do? What do you even do? Those crossfires are being broken apart like they're a bunch of wafers. Yeah, I've got some in my kitchen. I honestly, I was just eating one before the game, and I realized how quickly they break apart. Look at this. I'm not saying that it's not a crossfire. See, the stun that came in from the defense was good. But then there was a counter stun that was also pretty good from the side of the attack. And Cyrus kept his team at bay, kept his opponents at bay. But for some reason, that crossfire just not able to make the value that it's supposed to. They had phantoms, but they're just not able to win their aim duels. And they just keep breaking apart. It's 9-1, and Lotus has just absolutely wilted away for them.
Oh, but look at this one. This time, ROG Academy throw in the exact same stuns. The Neon stun, all the things that they've done before, they do it again, but they don't aggress towards double. This will force Ascend you to use more utility and clear out all these angles, which ROG don't even have control over. Judge towards 3, this could be perfect. Caramel peeks out once again. Max is also helping out with the flashes, and these guys are just falling apart.
Oh my god, yeah, now they're just messing up out. Caramel wants none of that. He wants to get this done and dusted with. Throws in a 3K of his own again. Another small little clip for him.
He's sitting at 17-1.
Sorry?
Caramel is sitting at 17 kills, 1 death.
Oh wow. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's pretty wonderful for him.
Big numbers.
Yeah, that's exactly why he's taking all the kills. He wants to end up probably with a 25 KD ratio or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a 17.
But now that you've mentioned it, Crips, he's gonna die twice.
There's only 1 round left, so even if he dies twice, it should be fine. Oh, they don't check Lavish. And Sirius has gone past towards the C side.
Yeah, this is a C split that they tried to pull in.
But honestly, I'm okay with the C split. As long as it's a 5v5 retake, ROG Academy can still make a comeback. And there's no nasty surprises left. AOH will also be accounted for. There you go. He's been taken care of. Steel Garden should render Mustang weaponless.
Yeah,
He's been
he
taken out
takes
of
out
that.
his knife for some reason. Penny does come in from the flank and gets 3 himself. And he's brought it down to a
Wonderful.
2v2. So it is still a round that could go there. They were 10 and 2, not looking
remaining.
that far away. And Penny, he wants the ace. Give it to him. He deserves it for what he's pulled off. Caramel denies him. He wants to keep that KD ratio going. And he will. 19 to 1. 11 to 1. And it seems like he wants to maintain his debts with the number of rounds he's lost as well.
Clutch.
Yeah, the only time
Not
when
even
Caramel
sweat.
died was the
Bring them
one
down.
round that ROG Academy lost. 11-1 lead for ROG Academy. 20
Switching
kills for
sides.
Caramel with only one there. That is a ridiculous number.
Wait, he got
Denies
3 that
Penny
round
the
again.
ace.
It was, I'm pretty sure it was 19, not 20.
It's 20 now.
It's 20?
Yeah.
Never mind. 20 and 1. Where
Bro.
do you see this nonsense happening?
Only in ROG Academy show match, ladies and gentlemen. Entertainment at its finest.
Last match he was ISO. He was about 21 and 12 at a certain point towards the last couple of rounds. Now he's 20 and 1. So he's really just competing with himself. He doesn't have anything to worry about.
That being said, Penny is in a league of his own. Consistently top fracking for his team across all games, lurking and entering both successfully. You don't see that often. Laughing with the shoddy, upgrades to the ghost now. AOS tried to dodge the flash, but there was no flash to begin with.
Where are you?
Tripwire. Doesn't matter. Won't stop Caramel. Never has. But Laflame, using his life to sell the fake towards A, keeps them stationed.
Spike planted.
And the rotations are quite late now. Rexu has to coordinate with Penny to get this retake going. And Lovich is still on the lurk.
One
Catches Roy
enemy
Mustang
remaining.
off guard. It's all up to Rexu, and there's just way too many targets. in
Oh
front of him.
no!
That's a throw. That's a potential throw. If he clutches this one, then ROG Academy will be kicking themselves. Yeah, Lavish brings it back before it's too late.
I was hoping that Caramel wouldn't die there, but a single burst takes out 2.
Match point.
I mean, to be fair, if you're 11 and 1 up and you know it's a 4v1, you're allowed a slight bit of a throw because you just want Caramel to get as many kills as he can. I was going to mention Lavish. That's exactly when you mentioned it as well. I was going to say that Lavish is probably going to cause a bit of a problem because the setup utility coming in is going to be denied from Lavish as he's going to be in a very good position to basically end this up. And I kind of like this top view of Lotus. It looks pretty nice. I didn't know there was a waterfall on the back of the map.
Yeah, there's water everywhere, man.
Yeah,
That's why
there
they
is,
sent
but I didn't
Harbor
know
in
there
the
was such
cinematic over
a
here.
huge waterfall on the back of the map.
Cage 3.
Plenty of interesting stuff in this map. Perhaps not as interesting as Penny's position, but they
No,
discover the better
no,
of him the
no,
moment
no,
he steps into
no,
the cage.
Well, it seems like we're coming to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, Lavish getting a little too overconfident there. Gives up his life. That is a weapon that can be retrieved as well. But it's right out of the smoke. They actually take it and run away. They're going to deny them even that Phantom. And now Max is just holding on for the entry point towards aim inside. He does have a stinger sliding into his face, but Laflame, a triple Judge Judy executioner, takes out everybody, but Cyrus delivers a 4K of his own. It's a clutch. One tap God with the Ares. He's gonna play along with the smoke. He's gonna go around and Cyrus with the Guardian slap to his face. 12 to 2. And for one more round, Ascend will see them play Lotus.
Please don't hug me.
Wow. And the 2 rounds that Ascend managed to get have been on the back of hero performances. One from Penny, the other one from Ensidis. Then again, how many times can you put the cape on? How many times can you pull off these hero performances and keep yourselves alive? The only positive thing that's come out of this map is that ROG Academy are playing like they're supposed to. Lotus is one of their most practiced maps, and it's looking like they have gotten quite a lot of practice on it. There was a time when they were struggling even on this map, so that's at least one positive thing that's come out of this one. Quite a lot of double control, and Sirius once again taking the lead. The Guardian doing God's work as Sirius gets the triple. Majority of the forces of Ascend Youth are present over here, and ROG Academy just crumble under the sheer weight of the numbers that they are throwing at them.
Well, here we are once again. What could be the final round? They have an ultimate available, and Laflame's not going to be shy to use it at all. The overdrive's going to most likely overpower this. And he does have a judge to back it up as well. And they're going towards C, which is the perfect read because 4 players from the side of Ascend are going to try and brute force their way on towards that A main side to get double control. While Penny sits by himself and awaits contacting play. He's heard them run in, smokes go down, and Love Flame's already entered the side. He's been caught up with the tripwire. No, he's been broken, but he's got a judge to face off against himself. One tap guard, jumping around, finding the kill. That's the C side opened up. And while Lancidus has made it here, and he does have an overdrive himself as well, it is a plant they're going to have to concede and now play on the back of informational utility. Here comes the Nightfall, focus up in the back of it. Lavish comes in, he misses the first spray, connects a second. The third will be given in by Caramel and Rexu. He's got a paranoia to isolate that close angle or at least push off one. Though nobody needs it. It's a done and dusted matter. 12 becomes 13 as ROG win the show match 3-0.
Lovely performance from ROG Academy. It's finally looking like this is one of their stronger maps. In all the previous show matches and even some of the tournaments that they have participated in, Lotus has been their bread and butter, but it doesn't always look as smooth as it looked here in this particular show match against Ascend Youth. And there were plenty of rounds where Ascend Youth had the chance to win, but one crucial play from ROG Academy, whether it's Lavish on the lurk or whether it's Caramel with his superior utility, they were able to shut down the round, and even the slightest chances that were offered to Ascend Youth were quickly snatched away from them. And ROG Academy converted those rounds quite well. But that brings us to the end of this show match. A big thank you to Ascend Youth for participating in this one and practicing with us. This was quite a lovely performance from them, and they pushed us to the edge on Haven. That was quite uncomfortable for ROG Academy, and that was a lovely performance from Ascend Youth.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I think that even on Sunset, they had some ideas. In the beginning, they were a little, I would say nervous. You could see it because they did lose a map, but they entered in with having going down 5-0. They made up for it, brought back a 7-5 half. But eventually, ROG Academy just had Ascend Youth kind of playing to their tempo. And I think that's what kind of made the difference. Because on Haven, it never looked like Ascend were playing to ROG's tempo. They had their own game plan. They had an understanding of where they wanted to push, where they wanted to go. And on Lotus, it was a completely different game because just the fact that ROG decided, yeah guys, we're gonna go on a snowball mode here, and we're just gonna run it down no matter where we go. And they were winning practically every duel possible.
Yeah, they were indeed winning that. And on Sunset, then there were several instances where it looked like Ascend Youth was the superior team. Like the way they snowball into a site, it was just amazing. The utility overwhelmed almost every player of ROG Academy, whether it was on the A side or whether it was on mid. So there were really some things that were working for them very well. Unfortunately, the few gaps in their armor that were present were exploited by ROG Academy, and they won Sunset as well. And then on Lotus, it was just hero performance after hero performance. Once from Lavish, once from Caramel. The defense was just absolutely spot on. And even the rotations from ROG Academy came in quite on time. They also expected all possible lurks on Lotus, so that's why Lotus was just an absolute masterclass from the ROG boys. But yeah, that being said, Ascend Youth did show us a couple of things on our Haven and our Sunset. They showed us that there are still some gaps that exist which can be, plugged. Gaps that should not be exploited. And we thank Ascend Youth for pointing those out for us.
Yeah, the judge came in pretty handy for both teams. More so for La Flame than it did for the side of Ascend Youth. But it is going to be ROG Academy who will win this show match as well, continuing their winning streak and honestly getting pretty good practice from the side of Ascend Youth. And we wish them all the best for their future endeavors because Ascend Youth, as the name suggests, they are a young bunch of players. They are still names that we haven't seen come up just yet, but clearly they have talent, and we hope that they will use that talent, gain some experience, and hopefully have learned something from this show match as well, from playing against our ROG boys, to take it further in their own journey as they grow as a Valorant team. We will hopefully see them in bigger and better tournaments, and once again against ROG, and we will see them hopefully play a lot more better and a lot more greater Valorant. But for today, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we had for you. Once again, we would like to thank the team Ascend Youth for giving us their time and giving in the practice for their team, and we really hope they've had a fun time today as well themselves, and we will hopefully see them soon again. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with more show matches just like these, and we will be continuing the legacy of ROG's Academy. We will see you soon. Until then, happy gaming, bye bye, and have a great week.